Calvinism says it is Christianity. In other words, that without Calvinism, without a reformed understanding of salvation, you just wouldn't have Christianity. All the things about tulip, the doctrines of grace, the 5 points of Calvinism, the understanding that God unconditionally elects certain persons before the foundation of the world to be saved, that the person who's so totally depraved could never believe of himself, unless God actually regenerates them first and causes them to actually be united to Christ by a superintending grace of God that comes upon them, that there would just be no gospel, there'd be no Christianity, that Calvinism is, in itself, Christianity. Well, is this true? Is this right? I mean, I was certainly of that opinion for myself for many years as a former Calvinist. Of course, I've come out of it now. I've written a book recanting Calvinism. And in my preface, in my book, I even say, when I exchange the joy of the gospel for the glory of Calvinism. Because when one adheres to the doctrines of Calvinism and you believe it, it's kind of like this glorious truth that comes to you that seems so awesome and amazing. Because, first of all, you're already a Christian, you've believed in Jesus, you're excited, you've come to an understanding of the forgiveness of your sins through Jesus Christ, and that's so wonderful, and that's what's true. But then someone comes along and tells you, well, really you want to know something like even just more amazing than that? And that is that the reason why you even believe to begin with is because God caused you to believe. That He caused you to become a Christian. And that from eternity past, in the hidden mystery of God's will, from eternity past, He unconditionally elected you and caused you to be a Christian. And that's why you're believing right now. And isn't that just amazing? And you kind of go away going, wow, I feel like I've lost my moorings. And there's a bit of a struggle time as you adapt to this teaching. But once you adhere to it, you're hook, line, and sinker sucked into it, and you are now full on Calvinism, and you think it's the most amazing thing. It's like a second conversion. And you want to tell people about Calvinism and how powerful is the grace of God, and how ridiculous is this idea that if I just believe in Jesus, I'll become a Christian, and on it goes. But the summation of it really is, Calvinism is Christianity. There is no Christianity but with Calvinism. And so, this is a very common thing, and and Calvinists are saying this. Well, is it true? Is it right? Now, we have to ask the question, well, what is essential to Christianity? What is essential? Is it Calvinism? No, it's not. What is essential to Christianity is Jesus Christ. That Jesus Christ, He is the one alone who makes Christianity what it is. That there is no Christianity without Jesus. And Calvinists will object and say, well, no, we believe in Jesus and all that. But Paul himself says, he says in Colossians 2 and verse 8, see to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, according to the tradition of men, according to the principles of the world, rather than according to Christ. And again, the Calvinists, the evangelical Calvinists would say, well, no, wait a minute, how can you use that verse in regards to ourselves? We very much put Jesus front and center. You've got to believe in Him. Well, it can be exposed that that is in fact not the case among Calvinists in this sense, because again, pointing back to that whole experience of coming to a reformed understanding, sort of a second conversion experience, there is a change in the object of one's faith. And this is the evidence or proof that indeed we need to recant Calvinism. You see, the object of faith is changed from simple faith in Jesus as that which results in one's salvation to this other thing, this reformed teaching, which then says that it's the Father who decrees that is what determines whether or not you're saved. It's not your faith that results in your salvation, the Calvinists will say. It's God's decree of it. And the only reason you had faith is because, well, He gave that to you as part of the decree. Again, this is where we need to say, this is not according to Christ, this is according to the tradition of men. They're undermining the very foundation of what it is to be a Christian. Jesus alone is the reason for Christianity, and faith in Him alone is how you can become a Christian. But Calvinism doesn't teach that. Calvinism teaches that faith doesn't result in salvation. So again, it's that changing of the focus, the changing of the object of your faith from Jesus who saves to this other thing, which is the Father who decrees. Okay? That's why we need to recant Calvinism. And Paul expresses even earlier in his burden for the Colossians that they should attain to all the full assurance of understanding, resulting in a true knowledge of God's mystery, that is Christ Himself, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and of knowledge. And he says this, I say this so that no one will delude you with persuasive argument. Well, the Calvinists have done this very thing. They've taken Christians who have been born again, and they've fed in their ears this philosophy of man, this teaching, this understanding that says it wasn't your faith that resulted in your salvation as you looked to Christ and believed in him. Rather, it was this hidden decree. It was this God unconditionally electing and causing you to be saved that has resulted in your salvation. And as Christians embrace this other idea, and they take on board this other second conversion experience of becoming Calvinistic or Reformed, they are then undermining the simplicity of the gospel and Jesus Christ. What's essential to be a Christian? What is Christianity in its essential parts? It is Jesus Christ and faith in him. That's why we need to recant Calvinism, and that's why we need to turn away from it.